The next day, Alex told Mom and Dad that there was a mouse in the house. "Perhaps it was our mouse after all and not a shop mouse," said Father. And Mom decided to inspect all the bookshelves to catch that mouse. White Paws heard all the talk, and while the whole family had their breakfast, he led Brownie to the vegetable garden and instructed him not to go anywhere, promising to return soon. When Dad drove to his work and Alex with Erwin went to school, Mom began to inspect the bookshelves. The cat used that opportunity and ran out of the house again. He came to the vegetable garden where he had left Brownie, but Brownie wasn't there. Cat White Paws examined the vegetable garden thoroughly. Then he ran around it. Then he began to call Brownie, but Brownie didn't answer. Then White Paws started to think where Brownie could go. "Maybe he aimed to forest people," suggested the cat. He knew that Brownie had played with them before. "What if they take him with them?" frightened the cat. "No, he must not live in the forest. He's a brownie." That means he must live in the house. And White Paws rushed to save his small friend from forest people. He remembered that forest people didn't like cats. "What if now they don't like brownies either?" thought the cat, and he started to run quicker. When he ran out to the forest meadow where, according to Brownie's words, forest people usually played, he didn't come up to them immediately, but lay down in the grass. He watched the forest people, but there was no brownie among them. "What if they have already eaten him up?" thought the cat. "What shall I do now?" he asked himself. "Then I shall eat them all up," decided the cat, and aimed towards forest people bravely. The forest people saw a cat and wanted to begin to throw cones at him. They really didn't like cats for some reasons. But the cat started to hiss loudly. "Why did you eat up my friend Brownie?" The forest people became indignant. "We don't eat brownies. As for your friend Brownie, we haven't seen him for a long time. Maybe you, cat, have eaten him up yourself." And they started to surround the cat from all sides. They were small, the same height as Brownie, and they looked like usual boys. But they evidently were very brave, for they risked to attack such a big cat. So White Paws said, "You'll have a chance to attack me later, and now you'd better help me to find Brownie. I give my cat's word of honor that I didn't eat him." So the forest people, that is elves, believed the cat, and they ran to look for Brownie, and White Paws began to run quicker than anybody else, for he had 4 paws, and each of the forest people had only 2 legs for running. The cat was the first to run back to the vegetable garden, and again he began running around the vegetable garden. "Where is Brownie? How could he slip out by Rex's doghouse unnoticeable?" And White Paws began to examine the fence attentively. Soon he discovered in the fence a small, slightly broken stick. It was a little bit pushed aside. There was other people's vegetable garden behind the fence, and White Paws was not allowed to go there, and he had never gone there before. But that day he was determined to get into the forbidden territory. Perhaps his small friend was exactly there. The cat jumped over the high fence. He was astonished himself that it was possible to jump over such a fence from the first attempt. When the cat got to the neighbor's vegetable garden, he looked round. There was nobody in the vegetable garden. Perhaps I'm wrong and Brownie isn't here, doubted the cat. But all the same, he decided to examine the whole vegetable garden. He searched for his small friend in the grass. He reached cucumbers, so loved by Brownie, and even climbed the tree and examined all the branches. Brownie was nowhere. The cat was so tired that he decided to have a rest for several minutes on a haystack. The haystack was at the end of the vegetable garden. When White Paws reached the haystack, he climbed it up, lay on it, and closed his eyes. "What if I won't see Brownie again?" thought the cat. But he didn't want to think that way. So he thought, "I'll find him anyway, for he's my friend." And he immediately felt more joyful. He even started purring a little. The cat totally ignored the neighbors who walked not far away on the path. Fortunately, they didn't notice him and went somewhere. So there was nobody in the garden again, only the cat. Suddenly, he heard rustling. The cat liked rustling. Usually, it meant that there was a mouse near. And he heard on the TV that rustling in a haystack is a mouse for sure. "How nice! I can refresh a little, and then I'll run to look for my small friend again," decided White Paws. And he began to try to reach the place where the rustling came from. And the rustling came from somewhere inside the haystack. The cat began to make a hole in the haystack to be able to reach its center. When he was already halfway there, he heard familiar mumbling. "And after all this, I should take care about others? I have already been in this place for 2 hours, and not a single soul came to help me to get out of here. Neither Cat nor Erwin, nobody, not even Alex. Everyone is busy with himself, so I won't take care of the family anymore. I have got lost, and they don't even look for me. Anyway, I shouldn't stay here for the night, for I'm a brownie and brownies must sleep in the house." The cat listened to that speech with interest, and then he cried loudly, "Perhaps it's better to leave you here for a night after all, so you won't visit other people's haystacks." But actually, he began to use all his 4 paws with all his might. He was impatient to drag Brownie out of the haystack, so at last he managed to drag Brownie out of hay. The cat was all in straw, and Brownie was in straw too. The cat White Paws took Brownie with his teeth by the t-shirt and rushed home.